Well, hello there and welcome to another episode of Back to the Clubs with me, Major K. I'm a DJ, producer and record label boss, and in this series I'm talking to other DJs about their club experiences. What makes a good club a good club? What club made a DJ out of this DJ? And can I get a whoop whoop? Those are but a few of the questions I'm asking every week, and the answers are often surprising. In previous episodes we had JD, Vanilla Ace and Greg Knox as a guest. Today, DJ LICIOUS. By the way, if you never want to miss a new episode, be sure to subscribe to Back to the Clubs in your podcast app. Give the show a lovely score too. It helps more people find the podcast apparently. Check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/officialmajork for all sorts of bonus content. The show without this intro, some extra stories that didn't make the podcast, free music downloads and so on. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter, all at officialmajork. My 2 weekly mix podcast, Flash Forward Presents with Major K, is probably in your podcast app as well. And on March 18, I'm playing at another Flashing Fridays party. Find your tickets on flashinghotshop.com. Well, with all that said, what about DJ LICIOUS? Well, he's a good friend of mine who I've seen rising up in the ranks, so to speak. I first met up with him at Tomorrow World, the US spin-off of Tomorrowland, that was. This was before his big breakthrough, by the way, with Calling. He has his own party concept and record label, Show Me, and hosts a show on Studio Brussels, one of Belgium's finest radio stations. We had a good chat about his beginnings, about why Roger Sanchez was so instrumental for him in becoming a DJ, and how a light jockey can make all the difference on a club night. So enjoy the show, here we go.
Back to the Clubs with Major K.
So yeah, today with one of Belgium's rising stars in the dance scene and even in the general scene, because he scores hit after hit these days. Welcome, DJ LICIOUS.
Hello.
How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Sun is shining, so happy as can be.
Yeah.
Happy as can be. The start of your career, I think it was in 2010 with your first song. Way back when, that's what I gather from the data in Spotify. But
okay.
Perhaps you've made some tracks before that.
I have no clue, man. That is a very
really?
Yeah. That is the past. I honestly don't know when I first released my. I don't know. I actually don't know. I need to actually research my own shit to know that. I'm sorry. No,
that's okay.
It sounds about right. I think. 2007 I started my first event concept, which still exists today, and I think I started producing a little while after, so 2010 seems right, but I don't know, I'm not sure.
Okay, well, perhaps that's a good thing, that it seems like it's been there forever, or that you are really focused on the future and see what can happen in that respect. Because, like, okay, let's say 2010 was really the departure from you as a producer, but it took you certainly 7 years before a really big bang came about, and that was Calling.
Well, then I have to correct you, because that date I do know, and it's 2016, so 6 years.
Oh, 1 year off.
Yeah,
1 year off. Okay.
The reason I know that for a fact is because that's absolutely true what you're saying. It was the absolute start of everything, and that's why I don't remember probably everything before, because basically everything I did before was all right at the time, and I am still proud of it, although I can't listen to it anymore, but I'm still proud of it somehow. It's just start of the learning process, the learning curve, of course, but 2016 will be forever engraved in my memory. It was absolutely ecliptic for my career, basically.
Yeah. Can you explain why that is? Why Calling took off like it did?
I have no idea, man. The only thing I know is that up until that date, I always produced music constantly thinking about what people would think of it, how they would perceive it, and I was constantly producing basically in the wrong way, because at that moment I said to myself, I was really disappointed. I was producing for 6 years apparently, and I said to myself, yeah, nobody's really feeling my music. I'm just gonna start producing music for myself, things that I like, things that I want to hear, things that I think should be in a song, and not what I think that people want to hear. And that track was Calling. And then, yeah, from there on, I never changed my philosophy anymore, because it literally changed my life. Also, I had less anxiety of when I released a track, because I knew that I was happy with it, and everyone else that would be happy with the track or likes it is a bonus, basically. And that is a very healthy way to produce, I think, at least for me. That took off, and that was actually a very funny story, because I had no faith in that track either, because I had no faith at all in any production at the time. And my A&R manager and I were in Ibiza, and we basically bumped into Pete Tong. Well, first we were like hovering around him, because we were at a conference, and we were like, oh, should we talk to him? He probably gets a million people that come up to him, and probably he will think, oh, another producer who wants to give me his demo. Go on, please, So we were really discussing that, and then at a certain moment, my A&R manager said, well, if you don't shoot, if you don't try, you always have nothing. So let's fucking try. And we did that. We went to we walked up to Pete Tong, and then the funny thing was, I had 3 or 4 tracks at the time, and Calling was absolutely not on top of that list for me. So he gave Calling to him, and I was like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? My other tracks are there too. I prefer them to be given to the Pete Tong. And he said, yeah, just send it to me. Sounds okay. I'll get back to you. And we were like, okay, yeah, sure. So 3 weeks, 4 weeks went by. We heard absolutely nothing, obviously. And then all of a sudden I woke up on Saturday morning, and my socials just blew up. And that was just... he played it in his Essential show, basically, on BBC One, and I didn't know. He didn't give us the heads up, nothing. He just said, yeah, this great guy from Belgium, DJ LICIOUS, this is Calling. And all of a sudden, I got messages from The Magician, from Clapton, from a million DJs, like, dude, this song, we want it. And we didn't even have a release plan or anything. We were just still, contemplating on what to do next. So at that moment, my label, the mother label where I release my records, they told me, this is a good time to start your own label, because you clearly have a buzz. So, and I was already organizing events, like I said before, under the Show Me label, and then it felt very natural to extend those nights to a record label. And then, the Show Me record label was born, and the first track was Calling, which then, was the start of my international career. Yes.
Ascension.
Oh, wow. Ascension even. Okay. All right. Fair enough. I'll take that.
Yeah, because I think it opened doors. As you said, a lot of famous DJs, important DJs, they started playing the track. You get in contact with other people, high-level people, who take you, elevate what you were doing for a long time already. And, new opportunities presented themselves. Like, for instance, a while later, when you got to sign on a Hexagon, which is a really well-known and famous label as well, Don Diablo's label. So that kicked in and took you even further, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Although that might seem like it was because of Calling, is not completely true, because basically Calling was a a club record. It was an instrumental record. It was not something that would be played on the radio a lot, although in Belgium a lot of radios played it. It was actually the vocal version, I Hear You Calling, that I co-wrote with DJ Fresh, by the way, on the vocals. That got released on Positiva Records, and that was actually the start of the real international career, and also international labels being interested, because Positiva, of course, is still today an epic label. Swedish House Mafia was with them, Martin Solveig was with them, Avicii was with them. I mean, that was just, the big league. So that was actually the start of everything, I think. Yeah.
And as said at the beginning of your introduction, nowadays, all tracks that you put out, or I guess almost all tracks, really score big numbers. If you see, for instance, on Spotify, most recent one, Million Moons, is now at 725,000 streams. Other tracks like Atmosphere, 1.5 million almost. So that must be so encouraging for you.
Well, it's still a struggle. I can assure you that. It's not. I mean, people think that the moment you have success like Calling, that everything goes smooth from then on. That is absolutely not true. I have to work day and night, and you are now just checking my top 10 on Spotify. But I can assure you, last year I released, let me think, the EP was 4 or 5 tracks, then Hope, and then so I released seven tracks, I think, last year, or 8, and 1 went platinum, which is obviously great. It was my first platinum ever, but 4 of them are not even in my top 10 anymore. So that is just, I mean, is every time is a real battle to get your tracks out there. Don't forget, Spotify handles 40,000 tracks per day at the moment. So is you only see the success, of course, and it's quite funny you say so, because even for some people, they actually believe that Hope, which is the platinum record from last year, was the first single I released after Calling, and there has been 6 years in between. So
really?
Yeah. People, we are day in, day out. We're handling music. We're listening to music. We know what our colleagues are doing, what other producers are doing. We actually know the whole road, the whole career. But for just the average listener on the radio or music consumer, they just hear what is being played in the top 40, and that's where their knowledge ends. So for a lot of people, Calling was the first top 40 hit record, and now I had Hope, and now I am lucky enough to have another top 10 hit record, Million Moons. So now they think I've released 3 singles, basically, while
Right.
in reality maybe there were 40 singles or something like that. You know what I mean? So it's just... Yeah. That's just perception.
But I think that knowledge keeps you grounded and makes you perhaps makes you work even harder, because you know that the success doesn't come easy,
exactly.
and that it can that it can go away as soon as it has come as well.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay. So let's take you back, DJ Licious, when to a time where there wasn't yet a DJ Licious.
Yeah. Okay.
Where DJ Licious was just Wim from Belgium.
Yeah.
Broadly speaking. And let's go back to the clubs and to your first club experience. What was the first club you went to ever? Do you remember?
Yes, I do. But I was already DJ Licious at the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you didn't go out clubbing before you became a DJ?
No. I was not allowed. I became a DJ when I was 15 or 14 years old. I started playing records at a local... I don't know. You know, in Belgium you have a thing called the Boy Scouts and stuff like that, and they all have these parties for 16, 15-year-olds and people like that, and like small bars. And I already played weddings because nobody cared about your age there. But at the door of a club, I remember once at 16, I think, or 17, I played a club once. And they even said no at the door. I couldn't enter whilst I had to play there. So basically, I've already played a lot of records, and I was already a DJ before I actually got into my first real club. That being said, my first club I've ever been to that really opened my eyes musically, and that changed my very essence of playing music, and what I wanted to become as a DJ was La Roca. Basically, I was 18. I came into that club, and at that moment I knew that house music was the direction I wanted to take. Because before that, I played commercial parties. I played everything. I played at weddings, stuff like that. Of course, I tried to put in my own style and my own flavor in it, but at that time it was not clear to me yet, because I loved hip hop, I loved drum and bass, I still do, on a personal
musical taste,
on a personal level. But what I saw, the connection between the DJ and the crowd at La Roca, just blew my mind. And I think a year later or 2 years later, I went to Ibiza for the first time, and there, I was lost, man. I don't think I will ever recover from that experience. I at that time I knew right there and then that was gonna be my 24-hour, 7 days a week occupation, and that I didn't want to do anything else in my life anymore, and that nothing else matters, basically. And those clubs, there were two very defining moments for me in Ibiza. Was Roger Sanchez in Release Yourself party on Monday in Pasha. That was just insane. It was also long before, and now I'm going to reveal my age, I think, but that was long before that Ushuaia and all those clubs existed. It was still more about DJing and music and selection, less than it was. It was already, they were already superstar DJs, but for example, David Guetta was not huge yet. Swedish House Mafia didn't exist. Avicii was not there yet. The EDM movement was not there yet. Tomorrowland didn't exist. So it was more.
So yeah, you're old.
Yeah, I'm very old. Yeah. So basically, Roger Sanchez played the whole night himself. There was no warm up. There was no massive billing. There was no like 10,000 DJs all to play 5 minutes. It was just him from 10 in the evening until 7 in the morning. I think it was. And I was there from 11, and I stayed until 7 in the morning. And the club was packed from the start to the finish. And he just kept on playing. I don't even think he went to the bathroom between those hours. In those hours, it was just an insane night. And then the other night, day party, because at that time day parties were still allowed in Ibiza. Was at the Terrace of Space, and I was just dancing. And all of a sudden, on a Sunday afternoon, a guy came in with a kid of 6-7 years old on his shoulders. Everybody was just enjoying themselves. I think Serena Williams passed by. There was no VIP. She was just there enjoying herself. Everybody was like, and I asked the guy, like, why are you having your 7-year-old kid here? I said, I've been coming to this island for 20 years. I want to show him the vibe, what this is all about, the love, the connection, nothing VIP, no big tickets. I think a ticket at the time was 10 euros or 20 euros at the most. Now you pay half a month's salary to get in.
Almost.
So yeah, it was a very different vibe, and I knew at that time, truly knew that I wanted to bring that to the people in Belgium and across the world, basically.
Yeah. You mentioned Roger Sanchez as being really inspirational, as it were. Would you say that this was the most memorable DJ set you ever saw, or was there another one that you really were blown away by in a club? Not on a festival, but in a club.
No, in a club. I think that was it. I mean, it was just so on. Well, the Space Terrace was Bob Sinclair at the time, and then that was the year of Love Generation, and he dropped his single, and that also blew my mind. But that was more a record. Roger Sanchez blew me away with his style and his set and his energy and the way he was just playing. But Bob Sinclair blew me away because it was pre-Shazam. There was no Shazam. You still got the records on vinyl first. CDs were pressed later in a later stadium. So vinyl was if you wanted to have the freshest music, you had to play vinyl. And I remember running to the vinyl store when I got home and just singing the lyrics basically and the chorus, and everyone in every vinyl store told me like, what the fuck is this song? I've never heard this before. I don't know what is this about. And then I think 5 weeks later, it came out. It was released on Defected, and it just
blew up. Really blew up. That track really
that was
blew
a
up,
defining moment for Bob Sinclair, Love Generation. I think.
I think so too, because he reached the mainstream audience as well with that.
Yeah, and it was you could also just feel it. I mean, now everybody has a microphone and announces their new single or their big collaboration or whatever, but he just played it, and you could immediately feel a whole vibe on that dance floor. And I can't explain it, man. It was just magical. And I remember that track, and I still have it on vinyl. That was also one of the first times I think that house music started to cross over to mainstream, like you said, and that was a big deal for us, because before that a DJ was just a guy standing in the corner, and some people knew who you were, but that was not important. Sometimes your name was equally big as the price for the cocktails, it was not important at all. No, it was like that at the time. So when this guy had Love Generation, that was one of the first real house tracks, and David Guetta took over after that, but that was one of the first house tracks that went global, basically. And it was a whole new era. You could just feel it in the air. It was it sounds very cliche, but it actually felt like that.
Yeah. You mentioned La Rocca in Lier, that's in Belgium, as one of the first clubs that you've been to and that opened your eyes. You mentioned as well that the atmosphere that drew you in and that had a big impact on yourself. But what does a good club need to have to excel? Is it the crowd, only the crowd, or is there more?
It's $1 million question, man. If you knew that and I knew that, we would both be running a successful club right now. No, I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's a combination of things, and it's also something untouchable somehow. They're like just these mythic venues that just have the right owner. They have the right sound system, the right crowd coming in, the right door policy, the right everything. And it's very, very hard to put that in a formula or to say because, for example, High Ibiza is an amazing club. Incredible. Sound system, state of the art. Everything state of the art. Is like you walk into the future. Is an insane club.
Yeah, that was that was formerly Space, right?
Yeah, that was formerly Space. But compared to Space, it's equally good. It's just in a totally different way. Space was dirty. It was old. Everything was used. Everything, you could see that it had suffered a lot with all these millions of people coming over to dance. But still, you had the same happiness, the same vibe, the same love on the dance floor. So I don't know what makes a good club a good club. I've seen so many come and go, and La Rocca is one of the few remaining, and that has such a long history. 40 years almost now. Yeah. That is just insane for a club. And same owner too, by the way, which is equally insane. Because this guy, if people don't know, La Rocca is this guy in his heydays. They were open 72 hours basically from Friday till Monday morning, non-stop with the biggest events. They had everyone play there. Axwell played in that club for €500 back in the days.
Incredible.
Yeah, Fateless did their album presentation there. At the time, Fateless was the biggest act in the world. They did their album presentation there. David Guetta was a resident there 3 times a year. Rihanna visited the Urban Nights there. Grace Jones was there once.
Yeah.
How do you? Yeah, how? I mean, there's no game plan. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna
No.
open a club and tomorrow Drake is gonna walk in. That's not how it
No.
happens. It's just
And that in little old Belgium. Right?
Yes, exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, a good atmosphere, that's really important. I think that during your sets, there's a good atmosphere going around as well.
Thank you.
Is there one performance of you as a DJ that stands out, that a club performance, that you think, well, I've performed here and this was the night of my life as a club DJ?
Oof. I can't really. I have a lot of nights that are engraved in my memory for a long and will be forever engraved in my memory for a long time. But I think, which was also a very pivotal moment, was the Show Me Night with Simon Dunmore. That was the first Show Me Night I did with the record label boss of Defected, and I had a lot of fun, and I played a very good set. But that was also because everything just clicked into place, you know. We were promoting this night for a long time. We struggled in the beginning a lot. Then at a certain point, I invite him. We already had some international guests, but this guy just came in with the right records. All of a sudden, an MC, the MC of Junior Jack walked in. He took a microphone and he started MCing as well. It was just, everything just clicked into place. The crowd was up for it. It was the perfect night. But it was not only because of me, it was just everyone. And then on a personal level, every possible night I've played at Show Me has always been nice. But the ones in La Roca have always been, and again, La Roca, I'm coming back to this club. I don't know why, but it's just, it has this, it's very intangible. You can't really put your finger on it, what makes it special to play there. But every gig I played there until 10, 11 in the morning sometimes, the Defected nights I played there were always amazing. And Club Vaag too, honorable mention to Club Vaag, also a club in Antwerp. I hosted 3 years a Thursday night there, and I had nights there until 7, 8 in the morning, people crying in front of me, me tears in my eyes, like just, you know, connecting on a very deep personal level with people. And those things you will forever take with you. But I can't really pinpoint one night. There are too many, man. I'm too old. There have already been too many nights. I can't really pinpoint.
If you say so yourself,
yes,
of course.
Yeah.
So I guess La Roca is the club you've been to most in your life?
No, I think it will be Club Vaag because I had a weekly thing there. So purely on numbers, I think Club Vaag wins. Based on years, La Roca wins, obviously. But yeah.
Well, tell the audience a little bit about Club Vaag. What if they would come to Antwerp and would go clubbing there, what can they expect?
They can expect a very dirty basement with one of the most punching, deafening sound systems in the world, basically. And it's not a big club, 400 or 500 people, but unrivaled atmosphere as well. It's just everything clicks into place there as well. The DJ booth is very nicely put almost in the middle of the club, so you have this like boiler room effect. Like I said, the sound system is just insane. The light jockey, which is a personal friend of mine, is also crazy in the coconut, so he's perfect for that club. It's just, it's an amazing vibe. It's a little bit more on the dark side, gritty side of the universe of nightlife, but I really like that. And you know, it's a club, and that is maybe the reason why I like La Roca as well so much, is they're the kind of clubs where people come to enjoy the music and nothing else. There's no drama, there's no special service or whatever. Everyone's the same. Everybody comes as they are. You can dress as you want. There's no... So I think that is the right attitude for a club as well. I mean, everybody is welcome, no exceptions, no snobby door policy or that stuff. Just good fun, good music.
Yeah. Funny you should mention the light jockey of Club Vaag because MI, who was a guest in our podcast as well a couple of episodes ago, she mentioned him as well. So he must leave. Yeah, really, he must leave.
Well,
Really leaves an impression on
no, well,
DJs and crowds alike.
you build a relationship with someone if you've done a weekly night with them for 3 years, of course. But this guy basically has a beard bigger than Santa Claus, so he's already like from the outside already a very impressive person.
Yeah.
And he's also there because he likes the music, and that's something. It's not work for him, you can tell, and that is very unique. A lot of DJs, light jockeys, promoters, they do it for the money or the fame or the wrong things, but with him you can really tell it's about the music, and that's what I really like about him.
Yeah. Okay. You hear a lot of DJs talk, you see a lot of DJs, talk with them. Perhaps they share club experiences or tell you, well, this is really an awesome club, you should go there. This perhaps is the best club in the world. If you would hear that description, what club would come to mind?
Oof, right now?
Mm-hmm.
Good question. I think Pasha at the moment is for me still
Pasha on Ibiza.
in Ibiza.
Yeah.
I think that is still one of my favorite ones because they have this perfect balance of poshness still and sexiness, but
Mm-hmm.
also just the right vibes. Also, they're always ahead of everyone when it comes to trends in music. They've always been like that. So I think Pasha would still be very high up my list there. Ministry of Sound in London, obviously. In Brussels, Fuse, obviously. In Amsterdam, but they're closed now. I think Panama, which was also a very nice club at the time.
Yeah.
There are a lot, I think, but too many to
take
name again.
A trip around the world to go visit them all.
Basically,
Yeah. Talking about clubs that you perhaps want to play in and that you didn't play in before, is there a club on your bucket list that you really want to play in and that you haven't before?
I'm coming back to Pasha Ibiza again.
Didn't you play there ever?
Nope. I never played there in my life. So that is still on my bucket list. I played Eden. I played Ushuaia. I've played Privilege, but I've never played Pasha. Pasha is still a very, very big mark on my bucket list because I fell in love with house music and the style of Roger Sanchez. So it would be full circle for me if I ever get to play the main room there.
Yeah. So this is an open invitation. People of Pasha, if you're hearing this, you know what to do.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong. You know what to do.
Exactly. Yeah. Please, come on. Let's just do it. Let's get it over with.
Let's get it over with.
Let's get it over with.
Would be a really good restart of the DJing because I think like many DJs, it has been a tough 2 years. I think for you as well, right?
Yeah, well, I am of course a little bit lucky because I sometimes here and there could play in a green zone. All over. Sometimes left and right. Like for example, I played Nepal and Poland and a few other things, which all of a sudden were green zones for I have no reason whatsoever, but they were. And I could sneak in a gig left and right. But most of the times, I mean, I can honestly say that 90% of my touring or gigs in general were cancelled basically for 2 years.
By the way, is there a country that you never played in that you really want to go visit and do a gig at or in?
Many. Japan comes to mind. I really would like to play Japan once, and Mexico too, because I'm actually a big history lover. So I would actually. I mean, I visited Mexico a few times for their amazing history, and to play there, and then maybe visit a few things. That would, I would not oppose to that.
Okay, so the presidents of Japan and Mexico, if you hear this.
Yeah, exactly. Because they're, of course, booking DJs every day.
Of course. That's their main goal, no? Is that the case?
Yeah.
So, perhaps that will happen in the near future. That we don't know. But are there any gigs that you have been booked at yet that you can tell us about?
Yes, of course. Yeah, I'm playing Tomorrowland Winter, and we've got a lot coming up. Basically, I just announced main stage Tomorrowland Summer. Then that's also happening. I have my own stage on three weekends of Tomorrowland as well. I'm hosting a Show Me stage at Tomorrowland.
That's the big thing, right? Doing the main stage and having your own Show Me stage.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I'm very, very grateful, very excited about that. And there's a lot coming. I'm going to play Croatia. We're doing a tour in Poland. We're talking now for Sri Lanka and Nepal again. So there's a lot coming and a lot of things in Belgium and the Netherlands, of course, in my home countries. Spain as well. Maybe Ushuaia again. We're talking about that as well. So there's a lot coming. But obviously, people, we are all getting very excited that the end of the pandemic is near, but still you can feel a little bit of anxiety. Anxiety and hesitation with some people about how it further develops, because you never know when there's a new variant, or maybe there is another virus or whatever, or the aliens attack us. You never know that. So
that would bring I must say, when aliens attack, that would bring the world together and not put them apart.
I don't know,
so
man.
Perhaps it's a good thing.
If they walk in and they say, you Belgians, you're all right, but everyone else is not, so that would divide us as well. So I don't know.
That's true. Didn't think it through. Damn. That's right. So there's many opportunities to see DJ LICIOUS live with the DJ set. If it can be Tomorrowland, but it can be all over the shop, all over the world. So I hope to catch up with you soon at a live gig of yours. And thank you for talking to us in this Back to the Clubs podcast.
You're welcome, man. Pleasure was all mine.
Great chat, that's for sure. I'm gonna see DJ LICIOUS perform at the next Show Me party in Antwerp, Belgium on the 12th of March. Perhaps you'll be there too? Or otherwise at my own party night in Antwerp as well. Flashing Fridays, check for early bird tickets on the online dance music merch store, flashinghotshop.com. By the way, all links to DJ LICIOUS' socials you can find in the show description. There's also a link to our Patreon page, patreon.com/officialmajork. There you can hear DJ LICIOUS talk about how he and Avicii came in contact. Don't forget to subscribe to this show in your podcast app and find me as @officialmajork on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. Next week, we discover the Netherlands with Keizer Jelle as a guest. He is a solo DJ and producer now, but became an international sensation before with Mighty Fools. Once more, great stories to be had, I can assure you. So, see you next time and enjoy the sunshine. Bye bye.
Back to the Clubs with Major K.